Hello everyone, welcome to another PYA webinar. Today we're going to talk about lithium-ion battery safety awareness on super yachts, and this webinar is in collaboration with Seascope France. We hope you find this interesting and that you have a lot of questions, as we would like this to be as interactive as possible. We will take questions after all the presentations have been done, but you can start populating the questions and answers tab already. And for any questions we won't be able to answer today, you can contact us later. Now, a few words on the PYA for those who don't already know us. My name is Kim Llorente. I'm the operations manager at the Professional Yachting Association, PYA, based in Antibes, France. The PYA is the international nonprofit organization for yacht crew, providing career development and advice through many different services, including this one. So we organize various things, including webinars. We also represent the industry to flag states and other organizations, and we've been around for about 30 years. Our next event is the PYA Christmas Ball in Cannes on the 8th of December, and you can find information on it on our website. But we have many exciting new projects coming up next year, so please stay tuned to our channels to learn more. We are a membership-based organization, so if you're not a member of the PYA already, please join us. And now I will close my presentation and introduce you to our speakers. So just a quick introduction so that everybody can meet them, and then we will get into the actual speeches. Alan.
Good afternoon all. I'm Alan Love, the Fire Safety Policy Lead at the AMCA, and I'm author of the MGN 681, which is the fire safety and storage of small electric powered craft on yachts. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Herbert.
Welcome, Captain Herbert Magny, USCG license 3,000-ton Ocean Masters, holder of a few CECs, and also member of the local Coast Guard Auxiliary, and member of the ISS Bridge Committee, with our focus being the last couple of years creating a working group to help develop viable risk mitigation measures to work with flag states, the MCA, and classification societies.
Excellent. Thank you, Herb. Gerard?
Yeah, hello, everyone. My name is Gerard. So I'm a master mariner. I went to sea 25 years ago and ended up in super yachts around 2002, like a lot of people did. I was at the larger end. I ended up as master on motor yacht Musashi, 90-meter Fedship. I moved ashore. I got married, moved ashore, moved into port state control, flag state control, and then from that, I write books. I write books, try to demystify compliance and a few different subjects. Haven't got to peer behind the curtain with port state control. So I'm an author and I provide compliance services to the super yacht and maritime industry.
Thank you, Gerard. And Kevin.
Yeah, hi everybody. Hold on, Kevin Howlette here, EHS International. You might have said it was Ferndale Fire, but we have now merged with EHS International in Cork, Dublin, and London. My background is Special Hazardous Material Officer in firefighting areas, including former firefighter. We deal with ongoing issues and provide solutions to lithium-ion battery fires. And we're currently working on 2 projects at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So a reminder for everyone, please fill the questions and answers tab with your questions, and we will get back to you after everyone's presentation. So I now give the mic to Captain Herbert to discuss the issue and experience with lithium-ion batteries on board. Thank you.
Yes, lithium-ion batteries. It harkens me back for a moment to the, I wasn't around for these days, but I know plenty of their stories when mankind first started using gasoline. It had some issues, but everybody was able to overcome and find ways to use gasoline. And to this day, it's been working out okay. Now, what are we going to do with the lithium ion? I was drawn into this being a charter captain, and many, many years ago, starting to purchase, let's call it toys, appurtenances, whether they're flight boards, whether they're sea-doos, whether they're sea bobs, whether they're cameras, whether they're drones, various different sizes. All of them had these high output, high energy batteries, which the key word here that I've found through all of this last number of years are consumer accessible and consumer serviceable and usable. Now, the biggest from the 2,000 captains in the Super Yacht Captains web group, and well over 1,000 captains in 9 different WhatsApp groups that I've been a part of and still a part of for the last 3 years. We do a lot of back and forth. And a big majority of this information is from the sub 500 ton field of yachts, which is a lot. And we all know this is where deregulation tends to slow down and or become diminished. A little background. I've experienced lithium ion direct fires, both at home and at work and on the neighbor's boat. My own garage burned down and was gutted 4 years ago. While I was talking to the surveyor, and the neighbor called and said, by the way, there's smoke coming out of the garage. And the fire chief myself did limit it down to, it was a tool battery charger. Whether it was the old one or the brand new one I just bought the week before, we couldn't determine. The simple fact of the matter is we did find exactly what it was. Whether it was a charger, more likely it was an older battery. But regardless, went through a big investigation with the firefighters for that. Now myself, that raised a big awareness, but nonetheless, here comes 3 months later and a battery out of one of the sporting devices in our lazarette, which we had put a metal countertop to do the charging on with a rubber pad, so to speak. And then we changed it out to a ceramic floor tiles. And somebody would monitor it, but not be there all the time. And we did not have active detection and sniffing equipment. Ignorance is bliss. We thought all is well. And sure enough, we hear a hissing and popping behind us. We're out on the swim platform and go inside, and it looks like there's a Roman candle going off in our lazarette. So incredibly disconcerting. Luckily, just grabbed a couple of face masks from the snorkeling gear we had, and myself and my engineer, and said, wet towel, let's go now. And we were able to loop the wet towel, loop it off onto another big beach towel, and out the back door. Wow. I can still taste the taste and smell the smell. That had taken a grand total of 7 or 8 minutes from the time it was put on the charge that we were walking outside and chit-chatting for that to happen. Had for any reason we had that not been the case, where we had gone on the upper deck and not been able to hear it, the ventilation would have gone, that would have easily have chewed a very large hole and set a lot of the rest of the things in that lazarette on fire. We'd have had a much bigger issue going on. It wasn't but a few months later, chatting, we're all down on the dock in St. Bart's, a whole bunch of us boats, and sure enough, we hear a lot of squawking and squeaking in the whole 9 yards, and here comes a very similar looking bundle to the one I'd just thrown over, going woo out the back door of another 45-meter charter yacht, and boop, into Gustavia Port. So you go over and look at it, so what's going on? He's like, man, it just started going off. I'm like, wow, okay, we need to talk about this. So we did. And I started investigating it more. I had spent considerable time working with the designers who created the boat line to this day called the Green Line, Yerny and Jacobins, when I worked for the principal who owns the company building those boats, and had learned quite a bit about lithium ion and charging systems and propulsion. And when I approached the ISS and the bridge committee and said, look, I'm also a member of the Fort Lauderdale Mariners Club, which is all attorneys and insurance companies. They're not digging this. I'm having a boat surveyed by my friend, longtime friend and surveyor, Peter from Cayman. And I'm like, he's like, well, here's what's going on. We need to treat lithium ion batteries like cans of gasoline because we don't have anything. Well, haven't you got something I can do? He said, we have nothing. We have it for propulsion, but propulsion systems really aren't the problem from what we've been seeing. The items we identified are those that, sadly enough, captains or engineers leave it up to the lamest, the newest deckhand with the least amount of training to take this ticking time bomb and deal with it. So we said, okay, look, well, this needs to change. I need to come up with some workable solutions rather than just jumping to what is required to deal with 5 gallons of gasoline in my lazarette or the back of the boat. So this is where we started the working group with a lot of people from the ISS to create a set of viable risk mitigation measures. So that way the sub 500 boats and the non-class vessels as well had some guidance and guidelines for us to use that weren't so onerous as what can be put into a new build or into an over 500 ton vessel. So we need to find some type of medium working together, and we did. We distributed similar along the lines to 681, and the idea was that they kind of look the same structure, and I even use the same font and the same type of wording, because finding viable issues, getting some awareness training, and realizing that, yeah, these things need to be handled better. Now, the last point I'll make is what I used as an example to try and bring awareness and a little bit of focus to this is, if I go in any galley on any of these boats, I'm going to find, chances are, a person who is trained and dedicated to that space. I'm going to find probably a separate identified electrical disconnect for that space and that equipment that's designed there. There's separate tasks for people on the muster list for what they should do in a scenario in the galley. There's extraction systems. There's quite a bit. And all of this just so you can fry an egg. And last time I checked, I've had a few eggs go off. You know, you boil a little too much, it might pop, but nothing other than a grease fire that is near the potential energy and danger that you have with charging lithium ion batteries. Yet we have so much more attention and focus so we can fry an egg than what we have to set the rest of the back of the boat on fire. So anyway, some of the things were active ducting, worked with company Frankentech, Honeywell, Sam at National Marine has been very key in all this, bringing active detection equipment. So it picks up on the first discharge of solvent way before something starts to go thermal. If it's thermal, that's when I found it. You don't want to wait till it's thermal and it's snapping and cracking. So those are my personal experiences. These are a couple of things that we've made some advancements, but there's no reason why it can't all be brought up to the level of what we have in just a standard galley on a 250-ton yacht, because they make headlines and cause great distress to our insurance companies and the underwriters who are like, forget it. We don't want them on the boat at all. And we can say so. We don't want that. So for me, it's managing perception as much as managing the actual hazard. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb, for your insights. Excellent points. Now, Alan, can you tell us a bit about the MCA's response to this problem?
Sure, if it's okay, I'll share my presentation and go through this and sort of pick up where we are and how we got there a little bit. So give me a quick nod when you can see my screen, and please excuse my strong accent and questionable microphone. So that should be there
There
for
it
all to see, I
is.
hope. Yep, perfect. Yeah, we'll look at this from a regulatory approach. Why we put out an MGN, what an MGN is, as opposed to other instruments we put out, other sort of documents we put out. How we got there, why we got there, and what's kind of next might be more of a question for later on today. But very quickly, we'll flip through this. We'll what we do. Quick one, who I am, what we're doing at the MCA. Quick overview of MGN 681, which hopefully you've read. Then why it was released and how we got there in the first place. Excuse the images, they're all stock images. They are not going to be specific to what we're doing here. This was pulled together by myself with support from their large yacht surveyor team and our colleagues and friends in the other REG flags. So good input from Cayman, Bahamas, etc. Bermuda and the like. So yeah, Isle of Man as well involved heavily in this. So they were all there. I'm from a design background, design engineer, so very focused in that way. And I work within the ship standards part of the MCA. So this is very much written with a ship standards focus rather than a crew training focus. That's the idea of what this MGN is about. Obviously, we're the lead flag for the Red Ensign Group, representing the Red Ensign Group at the IMO. So any changes that come in are going to be through us. What might be of interest to the group here and in the audience today is that there is a update to the RG Yacht Code coming through that's scheduled for July 24. That's the kind of current forecast. It's dependent on things. And that may, I think, is going to include a whole new annex on storage of lithium-ion battery watercraft, i.e. toys and other electric vehicles. Although we've only got, I think, 35 large yachts on our flag, there's a lot more across the REG group, so a lot more interesting there. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, why do we get there? We noticed there's a lot of fires coming in the last few years. I think you all have noticed maybe an uptick in fires. A lot of them, aren't due to, or definitely aren't related to lithium-ion toys, but some of them might be, and it's a concern. We have, concern the industry has, concern the users have. So something needed done, we thought. And we noticed there's quite a divergence in how we're treating electric watercraft compared to petrol-powered ones. There's regulations for a petrol jet ski, but nothing for an electric one. Why is that? Is it the same for cars? Try and do a comparison of what we do for ro-ro vessels. And yeah, there's a difference what we're doing, so we need to close that gap. So yeah, as I was saying there, is lithium-ion batteries more dangerous than petrol? It's different, certainly. I think probably the numbers we have for these sort of e-toys isn't great in terms of statistics, but look at electric cars. They're not proven to be more likely to catch fire, but when they are serious. So yeah, there was a concern we were getting from new builds that they were asking if they could remove the need for a protected garage. Could they do away with their fire protection if they only use electric toys and not petrol-powered ones? And that really got us panicked that was being interpreted that way, and hence this guidance came out and really focused on that not being the case. Yeah, this is put through as guidance. I have that on MGN. MGN is guidance, marine guidance note. There's no power to a surveyor to stop the boat sailing if it doesn't comply with this guidance. But good luck with getting insurance these days without at least having some sort of plan in place. So we have to do something and get out there and try and prove where we are. It's quicker to do an MGN. It's easier. There's less steps to go through, jump through. So we got it out there. Again, noting the picture of the yacht in question here. Don't know what that fire source was. It's a generic image, but yeah, don't need to tell everyone here how important fire safety is. As I was saying, we kind of benchmarked this against our MGN on the carriage of EV in rural spaces for car ferries and passenger ferries. That's something we did a lot of work on, a lot of good consultation with industry and with our OZEV department for electric vehicles here in the UK. I got a lot of review there and input from industry and academia and all the rest. So we pulled that together, used it as a benchmark, and then took it into a yacht world and thought, where's the gap? What's happening? What's not happening? Talked to users, talked to builders, talked to those people. We launched the station last year at the Super Yacht Forum event over in Amsterdam. So I launched it there and got our feedback through to February of this year. Got good consultation, especially from the builders. They were really engaged in that. Got a lot of good stuff from yacht builders. Included that guidance into, or including that comment in our guidance. This is focused, the guidance, on the larger yachts, the over 100 ton market. But I think a lot of stuff in there that can be used for existing vessels. Again, part of it's so useful to do it as a guidance note and not as a legislative package, because we can, use it across different sectors and also apply what is practicable and what is, set the right tone for existing vessels. Do what you can to get there quickly, rather than trying to have a battle over what needs to be done. So yeah, that was done there, and that was released. You can see the outcome report that we did on this at the link shown, and yeah, that's what we did and how we did it. MGN 681's been published now for a year. I think it's well picked up, and I'm sure I've got plenty of questions to come from me later on, and I look forward to hearing them.
Excellent. Thank you, Alan. Yes, we've already received some questions beforehand, and a few are for you indeed. So we'll get back to you. Now, Gerard, what can you tell us about solutions that you have developed?
Yeah, so I'll just share a presentation. Okay, can everyone see? Sorry, wrong one. Is that your one?
Now, yes.
No, you can see. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Yes.
So I was living in New Zealand until about a year ago, and I came home and I started my own compliance company. And I noticed that some of my clients were being asked the same question, and it was all around tackling lithium ion battery fires on yachts. So looking into that kind of opened up a whole new world for me. I'm already an author anyway, so I'm used to going down these kind of rabbit holes and finding what was what, but I found very little out there. So I thought, right, okay, it's time to step up. So what I did, I work with Nick, Sebi, and Sophie from Seascope France. We do a few things together, and I proposed a course. I said there's a need for this, and I work with Kevin as well, and we see this tsunami coming. I work in the maritime industry and super yachts, but we do seminars and webinars for just general industry, and they're several steps behind us. At least we're grappling with it. They're at the stage where a few staff are starting to notice the problem, but the people upstairs haven't clicked on yet that there's a risk. So I thought, right, okay, we need to do something about this. And there's two aspects to it. There's the hardware, the solutions, which Kevin will talk about, the things you can buy and apply to a fire. But there's also the things that I'm really interested in, and I spent my career kind of doing, is the safety culture, so the software side of things, working with people with their minds to try to trigger awarenesses whenever they see something. So two sides of the risk equation, the severity and the likelihood. What I do is try to reduce the likelihood, and then somebody else can look after the severity with their solutions, such as extinguishers. So we created the Lithium Ion Battery Safety Awareness course because we wanted to raise this awareness, and we thought super yachts is our industry, so that's where we go. So the course has been designed to provide essential knowledge for all crews who handle or have anything to do with these lithium-ion batteries, and more importantly, to recognize when it could become potentially hazardous and just simply to raise the alarm. So that's everything we do, is to try to work on the likelihood side of the equation for the risk. So who was the course for? Well, as I said, super yacht crews who use lithium-ion batteries, safety officers, emergency response teams who will have to respond and need to know some of the complexities around that. And of course, yacht captains and officers who have to see the implementation of a safety management system on board. And then ultimately, yacht managers and DPAs as the company who have to promote a safety culture and have to manage this risk. So that's our kind of target for this course and the people that we serve. We've had some really good feedback. We feel we've kind of hit the nail on the head for this one. So we've got a few different modalities to try and help as many people as possible. Essentially, we can deliver it online or in person. We can give it a webinar format like this. We have some clients, like I've got, my family is also at sea, so I know that they're preparing for a crossing at the minute. So we can deliver that into the crew mess for the crew, and try to upskill people that way without interrupting the stowage of the boat. And then we've also teamed up with a company called Versec. Some of you may remember them. They're experts in e-learning, and we work with them. They've turned it into an e-learning style course, and that allows participants to just work through it at their own pace. And that makes it suitable for busy yacht crews who can only maybe do one 10, 15-minute lesson at a time. There's 8 lessons in total. We can also give it in person, delivered at Seascope France's training facility down in Antibes. And we can do it on board and in the shipyard. We also provide services for lithium ion fire safety audits, do this for yachts and for general industry. And we do risk management plans. So what we do is we work that in as part of that, and that's documented, and that helps mitigate that risk and the responsibilities that the company has. So some of the outcomes from the course is there's 69 billion of these batteries estimated. They're an amazing piece of technology. When you learn how they work, and you will do in this course, I think take a pause back and go, yeah, we've done pretty well with this, but they're everywhere. And we want to train people to at least identify, to have an appreciation that they exist and they're slightly special and they need special considerations. So we help people identify where they be found on board the yacht. And then we teach them about the electrochemical processes that drive the reactions that drive these batteries. What makes them so special is also the thing eventually which can make them hazardous if they're abused. So we help them with that. For people who are planning the response to a fire, we help them recognize the challenges of responding to thermal runaway events. And then we introduce slightly some specialist solutions for suppressing lithium ion fires that you can easily acquire through Nick and Sophie. But before that, we want people to understand, okay, these are good, but if they're abused or they suffer any what we call abuse conditions, then they can become hazardous. We want to trigger the crew pushing this up to the officers and the master when that abuse has happened. So we're arming them with that so they can confidently come and say, listen, we've just dropped this battery on deck. What do you think we should do? That in itself will go a long way towards this. And then, as I'll talk about later, we have special requirements in MGN 681 for stowage charging practices. So we unpack those. We put them into context of real yachts and real practices that we do on board for stowage handling, charging and disposal. So there's a couple of screenshots there of the e-learning course, which has come fresh from Versec this morning. So we try to take this course, make it as interesting as possible. Our philosophy is chunk everything down to one little nugget and then move on. And then we use little tests, knowledge tests and quizzes to reinforce that learning. And our kind of vision is that the crew walk away not thinking they've really learned anything, but it's there, because if you've done e-learning, you've done it properly, somehow magically you do retain this information if you've had to recall it. So that's one of the slides. And then there's a few, like we talk about how batteries can become unsafe. One of those is degradation over time and a thing called dendrite formation. So we just go into each of those lightly. We're not scientists, we're not academics, so we don't need to go too far. I use the phrase simple sums for simple sailors. We need enough knowledge to do what we've got to do, and then we move on, because this is only part of our responsibility. So some of the benefits of this course, it can be completed in 2.5 hours, but it's flexible and that can be chopped up into 10-minute sections, and you just complete the 8 lessons in your own time according to your organizational objectives. The philosophy is prevention's focus. So we emphasize understanding these batteries, understanding under which conditions they become unsafe, and then what to do in that situation. So that's the whole goal, with then we spent some of the time talking about suppression techniques and methods, but prevention is the main driver of the course. And what we're trying to do is inculcate a safety culture around these lithium-ion batteries. So that gap that we were talking about in the last presentation, that's what we're calling that gap, the safety culture gap. Now, at Sea, we are risk managers. We're not risk avoiders. Means we can't just stay ashore. We can't just walk away from these risks. We have to learn how to manage them. People have been going to sea for thousands of years, and we've done okay so far. So our vision is, in 5 years' time, like Herb said, this will just become another risk that's being managed because it's entered into a safety culture. We've got documented practices and procedures, and it's just another thing, maybe another set of checklists, another set of familiarizations, and it's just managed within the system. That's where we're going, and this will no longer be a thing, and we'll move on to the next thing that arises from whatever technology comes out then. And it also helps masters. As a port state control officer, I'm very passionate about compliance. I understand why. When I was walking up the gangway to do ships, all different ship types, I had the weight of all the people that kind of went into making those conventions, walking up with you. And I really believe in the maritime conventions. A lot of them come after disasters, and seafarers have been lost and families have lost loved ones. So they're there for a reason. They're not just rules. So this course helps unpack that and unpack the legal speak around it and put it into what human terms that we can all understand. And then I noticed that MGN 681, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it pulled together a lot of things from the IMDG code. So I'm familiar with that on container ships, but yachties may not be familiar with the IMDG code, International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code. And I saw how the MCA made that link, and I thought that was brilliant because they're not creating any new regulations. They're not creating anything onerous. They're saying these are already here, but we're just drawing the link between them. And that meant a lot for me, because then I knew exactly where to go and what I needed to do to unpack that. So they introduced a requirement for competent persons to undertake battery charging operations. Now that term, competent persons, if you've read the kind of IMO instruments and MCA instruments as well, you will know where that comes from. So I go back to those documents and unpack that role. So that competent person rule, so I call it a LION competent person, or a LION CP. And what we do is we try to, so the last 2 lessons of the course are focused on that role. So that's a quarter of the course dedicated to upskilling a person who is going to fulfill this lithium ion charging competent person rules. We define that and help provide that training. And we're doing that on behalf of companies and the managers who need to do that. And we've worked ahead and gone and done that for you. As well as that, we have, while we don't have any new really regulations in this space, I'm not sure if we need any, because I think it's fairly adequately taken care of within existing systems, such as the joy of ISM. For example, ISM code element 6.3 mandates companies, for yacht managers, to establish procedures for personnel, especially those for safety and environmental roles, ensuring their proper familiarization with their duties. So that's an important pillar of the ISM code. So our course addresses this need by offering a comprehensive lithium-ion battery safety training solution. So this course is an answer to that need, and that helps the company showcase its commitment to its flag state, to its auditors, that they are fulfilling the ISM code obligations. They're taking it seriously. They're taking solutions when they become available, and they haven't just stuck their head in the sand. And it also is echoed in the STCW Convention Chapter 1, the need for companies to familiarize their seafarers with their duties, ship arrangements, and equipment and procedures. So that's what we're trying to do. As I said, a large part of the course, the last 2, is focused on competent persons, and we couldn't have done that without the work that the MCA did in MGN 681. We were grateful to that. But we see this as a tiered solution. There is no magic bullet. There is no magic bullet with regards to extinguishing or suppressing these fires. There is no magic bullet with regard to training. Well, we're all going to try different things. But I thought, as a captain, what would my needs have been? So what we've done is we've done a 40-minute lesson on lithium-ion safety, which is now introduced as standard in the Seascope's STCW basic safety training courses and the advanced firefighting. So that now we're starting to get people as they come into the industry, that's already in their mind. So hopefully you'll be seeing that, and they can maybe come on board and teach all the rest of us something. It's for the competent persons who are in charge of battery care and charging operations. It's about the next lesson up. Sorry, that's level 2. There is the course that we're talking about today. The next lesson we're developing is more to do with the safety management side of things. We know that the keystone to good safety management is commitment from the top, and we're seeing that commitment because it's coming from insurers. It's being driven by the news that's in the industry almost every day. We're seeing these horror shows. So we know people are taking this serious. So we want to be able to show people, to show managers, maybe DPAs, masters, here's a system for just getting this into your SMS and taking care of your responsibility, so you can document that you've done your bit for the company should something happen. Part of the thing we've seen is we've been fortunate in that we've been provided a few insurance clauses relative to this area, which are now being introduced, and we have tailored the course to meet some of those, or to meet those clauses, especially with regards to knowledge, crew training, and attendance while batteries are being charged. So that's the next level up. We call it safety management or safety culture. And then of course we've got the bespoke training to your actual lithium-ion risk assessment if you choose to do one with us. So a little bit about me. I'm a master mariner. I'm been at sea 25 years, ex-super yacht captain, motor yacht Masashi. I then went to shore when I got married, moved to New Zealand, and was port state control officer, flag state auditor, as well as a few other things for Maritime New Zealand. And that really put me in direct contact with ships every single day, accidents, investigations, when things go wrong, and they do go wrong every single day, unfortunately. And then so that got me into the nuts and bolts and sitting reading the conventions, learn how to navigate the conventions. And I kind of got through that. That was something. And then after that, I started writing books, and my publisher is Weatherby's. I write the Orals Prep series. So for deck and engineering officers who are going up for their roles, I kind of try to demystify these conventions for them. And then for the PMSP, I was in the Pacific Maritime Safety Program for the past 3 years before I came home. I worked with governments there on behalf of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade in New Zealand to try to improve maritime safety. So that's my LinkedIn. Anyone wants to reach out to talk about the course or any other things, that's it. And as I said, I've worked with Seascope. We've worked very closely for 6 months now to bring this. So you're seeing the very end stage, and we're really delighted that it's happening. Yacht crew training is Seascope's, is their website. We have a landing page up in place for the e-learning course. That's the QR code. So if anybody has a camera on their phone and wants to go directly into the course webpage and sign up for that, you can use that QR code. Otherwise, go through Yacht Training and you just navigate through the menus. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Gerard. That was extremely interesting. By the way, I have also shared the links in the chat, and I will do so even towards the end. So if anyone cannot scan the QR code, you can just click on the link. Now, Kevin, let's talk about hardware solutions, please.
Yeah, we're going to switch positions here.
Yeah.
No problem.
There you go.
Hi, yeah, as you all heard before, my name's Kevin Howlette. I work for EHS International by Chris May. We're basically in the lithium sector. We're a solutions company and work very, very closely with Seascope, Nick and Sophie. This course has actually become very, very personal to me over this last couple of days. And the reason is because at the weekend there, a good friend of mine, Lee, had a major lithium incident, and I'm actually you can see the results of what happened. Now, Lee is my best friend. And realistically, if this had happened probably maybe 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm very much doubt he might be here. And what happened, they basically had a lithium battery, a radio explode, hit the carpet, it bounced off the carpet, hit the blinds, and then took the blinds out. And lucky enough, Lee works for me, had a lithium fire extinguisher and was able to put it out. So that leads us into where are the solutions for these items, these lithium batteries, from small items right up to the major super yachts. Just want to show you what that might have looked like in an incident. Maybe we can't, maybe we've just lost the link there. But it would have been quite horrific. So how do we go about this? How do we go about creating these solutions? So we've got to segregate, contain, suppress, and extinguish. So rapid response is vital. And if you look at what everybody has said before me, that these lithium ion batteries propagate very, very quickly from one battery to another. And we've kind of worked in the roll-on, roll-off ferry world. And we reckon propagation, even from one vehicle to another, is about 4 minutes. So, and that will take us straight into complete thermal runaway. So that's quite devastating to see that time scale is vital, that we react and we contain and we suppress. Onboard team controlling and cordoning off the area is vital, because we've got all these toxic, we've got the toxic smoke, we've got the flames, we've got all that heat, that radiant heat, in a very confined area as well. If you're in an engine room, just imagine that confined area with that heat and smoke. So then respiratory protection is going to be vital as well. So this is why fire doors, dampers, and engine rooms, if we have an incident down there, that's why they have to be sealed off, and that has to be recognized very, very quickly. So containing the fire until the emergency ship fire team with appropriate media come down to that area. So what is the appropriate media for those incidents? So we have to extinguish the fire, and realistically, the amount of information that's out there, the knowledge on lithium containment and lithium suppression is quite poor at the moment. So one of the reasons I'm here is to show you what is available out there. So current mitigation strategies, obviously are quite poor, and from a global scale, the knowledge of the solutions is very, very limited. And if you look at the speed of what these batteries have grown to the speed where the safety has really lagged behind, and particularly where lithium solutions are. But from my point of view, we're at second evolution of lithium solutions. You may be at first, but I'm already looking at the sort of the next generation of lithium solutions. So one of the first solutions, what is out there and what is available to you from the likes of Nick and ourselves? Extinguishing media in the form of AVD and gel. So aqueous vermiculite dispersion. And you can see up in the corner there, we have a variety of different types of extinguishers, again, that are, from your small battery fires right up to your engine room sort of areas. Then we have the likes of fire blankets. And you can see there we have a small, it could be a jet ski, it could be any of your water toys, that these fire blankets will only contain, they don't put the fire out, but they contain it. They buy you time. Then you can get your extinguisher media onto that item, but they buy you good time, particularly where you've got a very restricted access to an area. Potassium nitrates, you can see that little round disc there. So this potassium nitrates, again, they buy you time. They don't put the fire out, but what they do is they allow you to get proper extinguisher media. And these are just throwable into an area where you can then go and get some more substantial extinguisher media. Containment pouches and containment boxes, huge for people that are on board. And these will allow you to charge safely while your batteries are in boxes. So a lot of water damage can happen into these batteries. And when we get what we call rogue batteries, or batteries that are what we would call substandard compared to some of the other batteries we come across, the actual charging of these batteries in a safe area is absolutely vital. And there you can see containment boxes. So we have pouches, boxes, potassium, fire blankets, and extinguisher media. So there is quite a lot of extinguisher media out there. So if we look at this, this is one of our products, and you'll see the temperature is sitting at about 370. Now, when we put the gel on, we have really, really quick knockdown of this particular fire. This gel is invented in Ireland, so this comes from Ireland, and you can see already the cooling effect is quite staggering. So you can see that containment. So the way I describe these extinguishers is they are liquid fire blankets. What they do is they go in and they attack those voids and those spaces where thermal runaway has propagated. So really, really very important bits of kit for your super yachts. So yeah, looking at some other areas that we actually specialize in, we also we basically run robotic firefighters. So this is the Avenger. Again, we actually get very heavily involved with fire brigades, recycling sites. And again, this is another solution, but again, I think the link to the video isn't working, but contact me at the end and you'll be able to get the information on this. Yeah, we also have what's called PyroFlow. So we have PyroFlow. These are suppression granules that you can actually have already in your bunkers and your bins. And what you do, if you suspect a lithium battery is going to go on fire, you can put it in there. And what will happen is that if it does go into thermal runaway, the beads, which are just recycled glass, will then encapsulate that item. So if it does go into that fire mode, now we've also seen a lot of testing on this, and the testing on this is indicating that is capturing a lot of the hydrofluoric acids and the hydrofluoric nasties in the fire as well. So there's some really, really good, valuable information coming out on this. So there you can see, again, Antibes ships provide all these solutions, as mentioned, right up to the blankets, right up to the power cloud, and to the special protective boxes as well. And again, don't forget, if you are going to fight these fires, we see a lot of videos where people are not protected in fire protective gear and respiratory protection. It is absolutely vital that these people that are going into these areas are protected from the moment they enter to the moment they come out. And again, if you need any more information, we are EHS International. I'm Kevin Howlette, and I'd like to thank everybody for their time and listening to me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kevin. This was very, very interesting and very detailed. Now, we have finished our presentation, so we can move on to some questions. But before we take some from the public, I do have one that I imagine everyone is asking themselves. What can we expect from the future? So I think everyone will want to answer this, but I would start with Alan. What can we expect from the future?
Well, thank you, Kim. I think I touched on this during the presentation, that I think what's coming next is going to be sort of more formalised version of this for the RAG yacht code, just for new builds. Something that's going to have a bit of a bite to it to go with the guidance. But again, this is going to be focused on sort of new build solutions rather than the existing fleet. But I'm sure that'll come in time as well. But I think that's coming. And the update's scheduled to the RG yacht code to include a battery annex in July next year. A lithium ion battery toy annex. Propulsion's a whole different matter, and that's dealt with other things. Again, we're looking here at just the brought on board kit and not the built-in kit at this point.
And further to that, there's a question from the public that might be relevant. We know that AC1 and AC2 are the starting point for super yacht engineers or small vessel engineers. However, lithium ion batteries is barely touched, and I believe the MCA has a working group for a new course that will be dealing with these issues as well, isn't it?
That's something that I could not tell you much about right now. Kim, I'll take it away and maybe take a post-meeting note to circulate that out, but right now I do not know that answer.
Okay, so anyway, for the public, just so you know, the MCA has a working group, and the PYA is a part of it as well, where they're discussing the so-called AC3, but it's not the final name potentially, and we will hear more about it in the future. So thank you very much, Alan. Herbert, what do you think we can expect from the future?
This nothing but goodness is coming about of all of this, because simply it's awareness. We're getting input in fronts, solutions being developed which are very realistic. Gerard, my hat's off to you, especially from the training side of things, because we can have all these guidelines and regulations and we can have stuff, but if we don't give that to the human element and have a way of measuring that they've got it, then it's just for naught. What I've seen in other arenas, and especially with the insurance companies becoming involved with the towing of auxiliary vessels and the loss of all of those being something very akin to this, is where it doesn't fall under the guise of class or something in flag. It falls in the purview a lot of times private vessels. Anyway, is the insurance company taking some of these solutions and like they've done with TowPro and Cyclops and technology, and gone, look, you need to do this or you don't get insured. It's not a matter of we're going to play nice and you're going to follow the rules. They get skirt. However, the real teeth come because it is us captains who are the ones who have our names on those policies. Well, that's when it really becomes real. And I've seen that. I've worked with a lot of the insurance company associations in making those viable solutions to help the masters out in taking all these good ideas. So my thing is I'm going to definitely follow up with all the above gentlemen on softwares and hardwares and the PYA, and putting a very simple thing to present to Mariners Club, for example, and distribution to underwriters to go, look, here's a simple package to mitigate risk, give it to your masters, and tell them, look, if you do this, we're all working together. That's where I see the next evolution coming.
Perfect. Thank you, Herb. So, Gerard.
Yeah. Thanks, Kim. So as I kind of mentioned before, in 5 years' time, I think this problem just kind of disappears into the background with all the other hazards that are being managed successfully on board. We've got to get there, so we're on a journey. But I wonder sometimes whether the maritime superyacht industries, are we the bleeding edge of this, if you know what I mean? Because we have the systems in place, we are risk managers, we do know that it goes back to the captain, right? And we should be putting in structures to protect him. So for me, I think we are grappling with it. We're starting the software, the hardware solutions are coming. We'll put those together, fold them inside the ISM code, a little bit of teeth on some of the regulations so that PSEOs and flag state inspectors can actually take some kind of actions to help nudge it in that direction. So that's where I see a bit more clarity. I think MGN 681 provided a lot of that leadership. For someone like me, that's what I need, and I know I can run 1,000 miles more ahead of that. But I couldn't have done it without 681. So I look forward to seeing what else comes out. Keep having these conversations. I see, so sometimes I walk on yachts to do, I do audits and inspections, and I walk into a crew cabin and there's a laptop charging on the bed. Now, we've all done it, right?
Yeah.
We've all done it. However, our awareness is changing. We're starting to say, whoa, 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 whoa. Especially if anybody's on LinkedIn to see every day the horror stories that are kind of happening all around the world. So I think we'll get to a stage where we'll look back and go, crew will go, I remember the days we used to just charge our phones using these cheap cables, and we used to charge it and when we're out at work, and on deck, and we'll look back and laugh at how silly we were and how naive we are. These are amazing pieces of kit. Their energy density and their characteristics mean that they're here to stay. They will get safer. We're already seeing solid state batteries coming out and sodium style batteries coming out. But we will get to a place where we look back and go, how did we not know that? And we'll just laugh, and we'll have a whole, maybe we'll have a section we'll have a section for lithium ion batteries, an inventory in the planned maintenance system. So someone like me will walk on board and say, okay, what's your policy for lithium ion batteries? Well, you can't use dodgy chargers off eBay. You can't use dodgy cables. You can't get your phone. You can't leave it into some high street store and get a new battery installed, but don't know what the origin of that battery was. All these things are going to become serious, and they'll be brought in as policies. Crew come on with their devices. They'll hand them to the ETO for a half an hour when they come on. They'll do a quick quality check, sign them off, right? That's taking care of the asset, right? It's also saying to the crew, okay, this is coming from the very top, you know, and it's across all the industry, all the departments. So I think we're going in the right direction. These conversations push that conversation along, and I'm very grateful to the PYA and Proceed for showing their leadership in this space.
Thank you, Gerard. And now, Kevin, what do you think we can expect? And I will add to you about the fire extinguishers. Oops.
Yeah, so from
are
our
they certified? I see that in one of the questions, and
yeah, sorry, I'm off
are
mute
they
now.
recognized?
Yeah, so I think we're already at second generation extinguishing media, but I think for a lot of people they're still trying to discover the first stage. But the way I see that, you know, there are probably 20, 30 different extinguishing media types out there, but I think that'll get condensed down to maybe 2 or 3. And I think the way forward is, you know, looking at the new extinguisher brands are polymers. And I think the rapid knockdown of these fires is down to development. And we've got a lot of people working behind the scenes at the moment that are developing these new products. So I think what we're going to see maybe in 5 years' time, I think you'll have a really good range of choice of what's out there. But at this moment in time, the space is kind of very much dominated by the likes of AVD and the gels. I think we're also going to see, as Gerard sort of focused on that, I think we're going to see better charging practices. I think we're going to see the likes of Apple and companies like that. Oh, you'll start to see that these charging cables will actually go away, and we'll start to get the wee discs, or we'll start to be able to charge, you know, on tables like you can in McDonald's and places like that. So I think, you know, maybe 5 years time, we'll kind of see these charging cables going out the window. But that also, I think, you know, we're going to see a lot better suppression in the likes of the pyroflows and things like this. As you can see, I've got the little granules here. So we're going to see a lot of people starting to pack their devices better and using the likes of the pyroflows and the pyroflows actives as well. Okay.
Thank you, Kevin. So unfortunately, we've run out of time. It's 4 p.m. 01 already, so 1 hour has passed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here. And don't worry, you can still contact all of our speakers after this webinar. I know there are a lot of questions we were not able to answer, but you can still contact us. I've shared some information in the chat right now. We will try to get back to those who have already posted their questions after this webinar. And thanks again to Seascope for helping us put in together this webinar. And thank you so much to the speakers for making the time for this. And thank you everyone for attending. Hope to see you soon, probably with another webinar on this very heated matter. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.